Welcome to First Dates and Soulmates. I'm Meg Casebolt.
And I'm Nikki McKnight.
And Nikki, I'm just wondering, this is gonna sound really weird, but do you think maybe you could be my fake girlfriend for the next 90 days? Because I need my boss to believe that I'm committed to the organization, and you have this ex-boyfriend who you're going to his wedding and you need a date, and also, I think my mom's gonna come to town and I'm definitely gonna propose to you, but I don't mean it because I'm not gonna get feelings for you. I don't care. I don't even like you, but maybe, do you think we could get married?
Only if we also get married, because I have an inheritance I have to claim from a relative I didn't know existed, and it requires that I be married. So let's do it!
So welcome to First Dates and Soulmates, where we are talking about the ever-popular, versatile, glorious fake dating trope. Mm-hmm. Nikki, how much do you love this trope?
Not at all. It's so funny, fake dating is not a trope I like. It's not something I often choose to. I will say I was surprised. I read a fake dating last night, and I was like, it's not advertised as a fake dating. And then I started reading, and I was like, wait a minute. Are they fake dating? It's hilarious. I love how they did it, because the author kind of played with it a little bit. But this is generally not a trope I reach for. I have read it, absolutely. As you said, it's prolific. It's very popular. It's a very flexible trope, but not one I necessarily go for. It's like a Chardonnay for me.
It's too oaky for you.
I wouldn't buy it, but if you serve it to me, I would drink it.
Okay, I think that's a fair assessment.
That's how I approach fake dating.
Yeah. And, I didn't think that I liked it as much as I did until we started prepping this episode. And I was like, holy shit, I have a lot of fake dating books that I like. And I think like any trope, it can be done very well and it can be done very poorly. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what makes fake dating interesting. And I think that there is definitely a framework. And this time I came up with it because, I know you love a framework. And this time I was in charge. So there I am last week in Disneyland. Legitimately flew across the country. I'm standing in line for Toy Story Mania. And I'm like, I think we need a framework. So
I love it.
My kids are we're also playing that heads up game in the line where it's I
see so many people do that, and I love that.
It's so good for waiting in line. But then when the kids got bored with that, I'm like, well, I'm just going to have a conversation with ChatGPT about the process of what are all the fake dating steps. And so I'm going to run through them. I'm going to run through the 7-step process, and then we can talk about each of them and talk about our favorite movies and books in each of the, who does each of these steps well. Because there are some books that do all 7 steps of fake dating well, and there are some that do 1 or 2 of them well and sort of drop the ball later on. So the first step of the fake dating framework, and I'm sorry, it's not all with the same letter. I didn't work that hard.
What do you mean you need a framework with no alliteration? How dare I'm throwing it out. I'm throwing it out, Meg.
Okay, so the first step, and I think this might be honestly the most important step, is a practical but semi-absurd reason why you need to fake date. In the proposal with Sandra Bullock, it's I need a green card, or there's so many different ways that this can work. It can be to get your family off your case. It can be you have a +1 to an office event. It could be a wedding date or going home for the holidays. It can be a bet. Oh, I bet you can't keep a girlfriend. What was the one? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That's a bet. So they go on these fake dates and end up falling in love. There might be an inheritance, a custody, some sort of legal reason. Maybe there was a scandal and the celebrity's oh, I need to show that I can be in a relationship. And there's this waitress that I really like. So, maybe there's a reality TV stunt, or there's an undercover op and you need to have somebody to cover for you, or you're avoiding being set up by your family, or, there's all of these ridiculous reasons. And I think that's what makes the trope so versatile.
Yeah.
And then after that, you need to make sure that both sides benefit. Fake dating can't be one-sided. Fake dating can't be, well, I'm going to date you, but you don't get anything out of it. It has to be a deal. So like I just said in like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, they both have sides of the bet. They're both trying, he's trying to prove that he can keep a girlfriend, and she's trying to prove that she can lose a boyfriend. So there's this sort of, both of them have skin in the game. There's usually some sort of boundary conversation of like, I will never fall in love with you. Don't worry. It's only 90 days. It's only, it's Bridgerton, where Simon is like, I'll help you do this. I'm not going to fall in love with you. I'm just going to help you on the marriage mart. So we'll fake date because I want my mom to get off my case, or all these women to get off my case, and you actually need to meet someone. So it ends up being a little bit of a setup in that case, but you get a fake dating behind it. Next is that sort of need to perform publicly, or need to perform in front of people, but then behind closed doors there's that awkwardness because you're out in public and you're having these like touchy-feely moments. But then in private, you start to like the person, but you can't touchy-feely moment with them. So that can be really, really interesting in that romantic tension space. Usually there's also, this is part 5 of the framework, there's somebody who thinks that you're bullshitting.
Yeah.
It's like 10 things I hate about you, where they're like, no, there's no way that Patrick loves Kat. Like, why would he even want that? So he has to do the big grand gesture to say, oh, I'm going to go sing this song to her at the football field to prove that I really care. I love that moment. And then there's like unexpected feelings where they're like, oh, but I actually do like this person. Whoops. I wasn't supposed to. And they definitely don't like me. How could they like me when they're so awesome and I'm just the worst? Because there's always that self-doubt that comes in at that moment. Why would they want, this is just for them. And then there's like a moment of doubt, or like a betrayal, or some sort of point where the arrangement, somebody gets hurt and they have to actually express their feelings.
Oh man, you mean we have to be emotionally adult and responsible?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is an 8-part series, an 8-part framework. The moment of truth, where somebody is honest.
We love a conversation. Or
Exactly.
a grand gesture confessing, by the way, I actually really love you and I think we could do it if we just gave ourselves a chance. And then slow motion walk away and it's like, I feel the same. Yeah.
I saw you walking down the aisle at the wedding that I was just pretending to be your date to, and I thought about how much I wanted to be the one on the other end of the aisle. Or you finally got your inheritance and it paid out and we should be filing our divorce paperwork, but I'm holding back on signing because I don't want it to end. Now, the the dating to marriage, I tried not to go too far into fake engagement or fake marriage or marriage of convenience, because those are so different. I actually like them more because I think the stakes are higher. But there's so much you can play with in fake dating.
So much. And I think there are some really fun ones. And, I think most of the ones that I read or I see are more of like, my family is annoying me, or I have to do something because of family. So maybe it's avoid matchmaking. Maybe it's my grandfather is dying and I just want him to see that I have a partner before he dies. Or, you talk about inheritance. Usually that has to go hand in hand with marriage because there's like a longer term in things. Or there's like the workplace kind of like reputation, scandal, get a promotion type of deal. Like those are the ones I see the most often. Obviously, there are different ones. I think you made a list here about like reality TV or breaking a curse, or we accidentally got married in this other country. Like there are these things, but I think so often the reasons for the fake dating they're kind of banal when you just say them. That it's like, why is that a stake? Like, why is that the inciting incident? Because it seems like so much nothing, but then it becomes so big emotionally, which I think is interesting, but it's also one of the reasons I don't like this trope.
I think the stakes have to be legitimate, and I think it has to be a mutually beneficial piece. And if they don't do a good job with setting up the foundation of it, then reading the rest of the book can be really hard.
Yeah, like I think, and that's probably why the reason I don't like this as much, because even if I think of just about like the mundane reasons, like my family is being really demanding, it's usually because the family is like they're written to be like a culture, I'm gonna say cultural family. That sounds so ignorant and white, but it's like, oh, my Puerto Rican mom is like trying to matchmake me. Like that seems to be in the books that I read that shows up with this. It's because the family is from a culture where parents are involved in every aspect of their kids' lives. Like they're Puerto Rican, they're Mexican, they're Italian, and you have such like respect and reverence from like your parents or your grandparent figures that to make them get off your back and stop matchmaking, you would bring a person into that. Which I look at that and maybe it's just me. I would just tell my parents to fuck off. Like, so for me, like the family being the reason to start fake dating is not a reason for me, which makes it really challenging for me to buy into the whole rest of it, especially when it turns out the mom will usually announce, well, I knew all along, but I thought it was so good for you that I didn't say anything. I'm like,
Or like, we don't care who you end up with. We just want to see you happy. And you're like, well, then why were you setting me up with all those other people? Like, there's usually some sort of, something that doesn't quite stick the landing there.
Yeah. It's not my favorite. And then same thing like at the workplace, like, well, we only promote people who are married, or, you know, we want to make sure that you're emotionally stable. I'm like, pretty sure that's discriminatory, my bud. Like, it's like that really, it's like an early season of Sex in the City. Miranda, who, you know, is a lawyer, works at this legal firm, she's playing like softball or something with the company. And one of her coworkers is like, oh, I brought someone to set you up with. Here she is. And Miranda's like, I'm not a lesbian. And he's like, oh shit, totally thought you were lesbian. Miranda goes to this woman's like, so sorry, I'm not gay. But then they end up, you know, kind of making nice at the game. And then Miranda's boss is like, oh, you should come to dinner at our house. Bring your girlfriend. And she's like, I will absolutely bring my girlfriend. Because it's like, oh, she's a palatable gay now because she's got a girlfriend. Like, I don't know. There's so much around just this. We talked a little bit about this in our Secret Billionaire episode. You have not won enough of my goodwill for me to suspend my disbelief for your inciting incident. And I think it's just me. I never get that with fake dating. I've never bought into the premise.
Like, you've read a lot of them for somebody who's never bought into the premise.
I know, it's true. It's true.
I'm looking at your list and going, But like family pressure, I do think is a weird one. Yeah. And it's so funny. I wasn't thinking about this until right now when you were talking about the workplace pressure of you're not going to get the promotion unless you're in a serious relationship. Ben and I went last week. We flew out to San Diego to go to a naval retirement ceremony. So, as I've discussed, we were set up by a couple he was in the Navy with. He was in the Navy with Dan. Sarah was my cousin. It just kind of worked out. But it really does feel like a romance trope, you know?
It does. Yeah, because then you like quick dated and then you got married in Vegas.
And then we got married in Vegas. We got so many of these tropes taken care of. So Dan was retiring from the Navy, and Ben and I were talking about other families that we know that are in the Navy, and, you know, half the couple is, and Ben has a cousin who is about to retire from the Navy, but her husband's in the Navy, so they're both high-ranking enlisted in the Navy, and she's, like I said, she's retiring, he's not, so he might get the promotion because she can be the wife who does the wife duties in the Navy. She knows what it means. Whereas there used to be these rules, like written down rules of you can't get above a certain tier of enlisted. You can't get promoted unless you're married. In part, I know, right? Like all of my feminist hackles came up when Ben was telling me this. But it was like, you can't go above, I'm going to say like E7, like Master Chief level, enlisted 7. If you're not married, in part because there are expectations of, chiefs' wives having some sort of leadership role that would not be able to be fulfilled, but in part because you're less of a defecting risk. You have somebody else who's financially responsible for, and therefore you're less likely to be like, fuck this, I'm out, you know?
Oh, I don't love that.
I hate it so much. I hate it so much. But Ben was explaining this, and he's like, you know, like, this is no longer the rule on the books, but I think old habits die hard. Because at the military retirement ceremony, it was very much like, look at how much the family sacrificed so Dan could advance within the Navy. Like, so there was a lot of weird...
very much like The Firm, that old Tom Cruise movie where he's like a lawyer for the mob, and like the way that firm works is they don't want the wife to work and they don't want you to come from family money. They want you to be fully dependent on the firm so that when you find out they work exclusively for the mob, you can't leave.
You can't leave. It's like golden handcuffs.
This took a really dark turn.
It really did. And I was not planning to bring up the naval, but and part of it also, Ben, I didn't think of this. Ben was like, yeah, because if you have a wife, then you're not gay. And this was pre Don't Ask, Don't Tell that they had these rules. And I was like, no, there's no lavender marriages in the Navy. They're all Navy.
Not at all.
So it never could have happened. But part of me was like, I think I want to write like a historical fiction in the 70s of like a lavender marriage.
Yeah, and also like
I don't want to write that.
And people don't exist.
Nope.
Yeah, but like if we think about like, I always think about the conversation that has to happen to kind of kick off this fake dating thing, right? Like I get this surprise book I was reading last night that surprise turned out to be fake dating, which I'll find the name for it in a minute. But essentially one of the characters like is working in like IT or something, and his client is putting on this like gala and like swords display at this museum. And the client knows that Felix, I think his name is Felix, Frank, starts with an F. Felix, we'll call him Felix, likes swords. And he does sword like classes, like he goes to like stage fighting type things. He's like, and the client says to him like, oh, you should come, I'll give you 2 tickets. And Felix goes, oh yeah, I would love to bring Core. He also loves swords. And the client automatically assumes it's his boyfriend and not like a good friend of his that he does sword fighting classes with. And so it's like, it's the thinnest of pretenses, because Felix goes to Core and is like, hey, so my client thinks you're my boyfriend, but do you want to come to this gala with me and go look at really cool swords? And he's like, yeah, I really do want to look at swords, but like, why is this a thing? Especially since Felix is ostensibly straight, Core is gay and has been in love with Felix forever, but he's a straight guy who up until very recently was in a relationship. And this of course kicks off like their fake dating, but it is the thinnest of pretenses. And eventually like 20% into the book, they just drop the fake dating pretense and like, they're like, they actually start dating for real, but neither one haven't said to each other, we should just date for real, right? It's all of their family members saying, yeah, you're dating. He goes, well, technically we're fake dating. They're like, you're not fucking fake dating.
Yeah.
You're not. It was literally for like 2 hours you considered it a fake date and then it wasn't. So I actually do really like that. But like, sometimes the pretenses are so thin that I always think of that conversation. This conversation was, do you want to go look at swords? You got to pretend to be my boyfriend if you want to go look at swords. And he's like, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes
like, cool.
they're really thin, really weak reasons. And like, it's just to get them in the room together. It's just to get the forced proximity. So I think that might be one of the things that is maybe the most difficult, is setting the stakes high enough, but also having that level of like releasing the reality. I'm thinking about Amanda Gamble wrote a book called Honestly, I'm Totally Faking It, where
I love that.
I know. He's a politician who's trying to run for office, and she's, I'm going to say, his temp assistant. Like, she's trying to fill in for somebody else. And I don't remember why. I didn't look it up because it was ridiculous. But for some reason, he's on a Zoom call on like CNN to talk about his political stakes. And she walks out of the bathroom in a towel. Like she like spilled coffee on herself, and she walks into the thing and they're like, hi, you have a naked woman in your office. And he's like, oh, that's my girlfriend. Right? Like,
oh god, oh no.
And they are very much like, he's super orderly and she's kind of wild. And I actually had some issues with it because she got like a little bit too much like Mary Sue Bimbo, and I was like, okay, it's okay to be cheerful, it's not okay to be criticized for it all the time. But that sort of like the fast reaction of, sometimes I'm like, your reputation's not that important. Stop fake dating. And like, having a fake girlfriend is not going to fix your reputation problems.
True. And that makes me think of this idea, because one of the things we're actually going to be talking about later this month is the Adam Sandler movie, Just Go With It.
God, I hated it.
Random choice. I'm so excited to talk about it with you. But it's this idea of like, are you fake dating to like better your situation, like to get a promotion, to have your family like accept you, or are you fake dating because you were an asshole and you're trying to remediate a situation?
Yes.
Like in Adam Sandler's case in Just Go With It, which I'm so excited to talk to you about. It's so random, right? And I think like that's another reason how, or maybe why not, I can buy into a situation.
Yeah, I can see that.
Idea of like, are you doing it to like better yourself, so that if things go wrong or if people find out about this fake dating, it's like, it's more of an awkward conversation. Like, oh, why did you feel that you had to do that? Or I'm so sorry that the system was set up in such a way that you had to be married to advance beyond Master Chief. Like that versus, I need you to fake date because I lied about being married and someone found out.
Oh,
we
God,
need to
no.
fake,
Play
we
it.
need to fake date because of, you know, there was a scandal and I need to prove that I can be a good boy in the public eye. I think that's part of it too, because depending on which of those like kind of starting reasons you have, I am either on your side or I am not on your side pretty much from the get-go.
I think you're totally right. Like I read Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison, which is adorable, friends to lovers. But the reason that she decided that she had to ask him to fake date is because she's like, well, I wrote on an application for a reality TV show that I had a boyfriend. I'm like, well, that's just stupid. Just don't do that.
Dumb.
Just don't do it. And he had no stakes besides, well, I want to help my friend. And I was like, that's not enough. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's been in love with her the whole time. And once, as soon as I open a book that is friends to lovers and it's single POV, I'm like, oh, good. He's been in love with her the whole time. You know, like it's instant, because otherwise, why? But yeah, that one, that's something that definitely gets to me, where it's like, you don't have a good enough reason. And so the whole book, even though in that one, like the prose was beautiful, everything, like, but then they also didn't freaking talk to each other, and I was ready to wring their necks by the end. But if you don't have a good setup, then I'm just, I don't know if I can ever get on board without it. Versus like, you know, like the kiss quotient, which we've talked about before.
Is that Helen Huang?
Helen Huang, where it's like, I want to learn how to work within these social spaces, and I want to learn how to have sex, so that way when I am in these social spaces, I don't feel awkward about it. And so she hires an escort. And then she takes them as her wedding date. It's like, that I'm in for, because he's getting paid. He's doing his job. He's getting his dad out of medical debt. And she's, you know, she's like, trying to understand how to function in a society that isn't built for her. And just having an autistic female character is just amazing.
Yeah, like it is the reason, because, you know, I always, and we talked about this in like our last couple episodes, when there is a character who has made a choice and somebody else kind of has to go along with that choice, you know, in Billionaires, it was like you had the specialist boy and the non-specialist boy. Secret Royals, it was the same thing. Like when you find out that other character is secretly royal or secretly extremely wealthy, like what does the other character feel like? So at least with fake dating, the secret is up front. The other person is in on it, right? Because they essentially have to agree. It's not just like, you know, you brought up How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which, but like in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, both of them are trash humans, and they don't really know that they are fake dating each other. They're not in on it, but they're in on it, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But at least in fake dating, the other character knows, because there is a moment of the request. Right? Hey, I need to get my family off my back. Would you consider pretending to be my date when I go home next weekend for my cousin's wedding? Like, or hey, that's my ex over there across the bar. I'm feeling some kind of way about them being here. Could you just pretend to be my boyfriend for tonight? Which obviously it's going to snowball into something longer than
obviously.
That. Just so I can save face. But the other person has the option to say no. Now, really, if they've been in love with the other character or if they're best friends, they're not really going to say no, because they're like, I'm going to support you. But there is kind of the option to opt out of this and say no, which I do like that, because it's not a secret. The other person is in on it. They have a little bit of say, and they do agree to, you know, you brought up boundaries, this idea of, okay, we'll pretend to be boyfriend, girlfriend for this wedding. Don't fall in love with me. But also like, hey, we're probably going to have to hold hands. We're probably going to have to kiss. And we should probably, like, in the case of the Proposal movie with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds, we have to learn about each other. But like both sides are bought into it. So at least this trope has that going for it in my mind, that there isn't one person who's kind of just being completely catfished in real life.
Yeah, that always makes me uncomfortable. So at least they're both on board with it. I do want to point out that there is a modern millennial retelling of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days that's less problematic. It is Not the Girl You Marry by Andy J. Christopher, and I really loved it. So he's the journalist. He's trying to like become a real journalist and be respected, but he's sort of gotten into like the tone of these BuzzFeedy articles of like how to make the best sandwich, you know? And so he's trying to like impress the boss with a how to lose a girl. And she is a romantic skeptic, but she's an event planner. And her boss is like, I need you to get more serious about this. I need you to be able to plan weddings if you want to move up. So then she starts to go to weddings with him so she can see what's working and do all these things and machinate in that way. So like in that case, it works a little better for me than the original How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, especially because it's gender swapped where he's the one, you know.
For me, at least, it is nice when one or both of the characters is in love with the other character and they agree to do this fake dating thing because they just want to support them. And then, like, finally they get to reveal the real feelings. Like, Lily Morton is an author that I love, 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 love. And she just released, I think it's book 3 in the Confetti Hitch series, came out like a month or so ago. It's called Paper Roses. And again, I'm not a huge fake dating fan, and this is because of an inheritance, which don't love. Because for me, the whole like, and I'm sure we'll talk about fake weddings and marriages of convenience in the future. But for me, like this idea of like, we have to date, pretend to be fiancés, pretend to get married because of an inheritance. I'm like, just get married. Nobody's will stipulates that you have to love this person and fake a relationship. Just fucking get like, what is that movie? Sophia Carson, Nicholas Galitzine, Purple Hearts. So Nicholas Galitzine, he's in the military or something like that, and Sophia Carson's character has like diabetes and can't afford health insurance and is literally about to die because she can't afford her insulin. And I don't remember they have a mutual friend. I don't know why they decide to get married so that she can get the military health insurance. I don't remember what's in it for him. Oh, it's because if he gets married, he earns more money in the military.
Yes, you do.
They get a salary boost. So they get married so that she can get health benefits, he can get more money, and they have to fake being in love with each other, even though they are not. And I'm like, and then, spoilers for Purple Hearts that came out in 2022. Eventually, they get found out that they only married so that she could get benefits, he could get more money. So he actually gets discharged from the army and goes to prison for a couple months.
False.
But I was like, who cares if it's a marriage of convenience? Like, why is there? And then there's a Chris O'Donnell rom-com from early aughts where he has to get married to like get an inheritance. So he goes to like all these ex-girlfriends and like tries to, it's called The Bachelor. A commitment phobic man goes in search of a bride to inherit his grandfather's $100 million estate. With that too, he's like, we have to pretend to get married. I'm like, why? It's a business deal. Who gives a shit? Like, I would go to my best friend or, and be like, hey, I'm about to inherit $100 million. I need to be married for it. Should we just get married? And they're like, okay, yeah. And they're like, great, I'll give you a share. You're not going to get 50%. We're going to sign a prenup. But when they go in front of the lawyers are like, this is not a true marriage. They're not in love. I'm like, love is not a stipulation of this. I'm legally married. I got the paper. Thank you very much. So sometimes too, with like fake dating and the fake marriage, I'm like, why does it matter if it's a real relationship or not? If all you want is like, I get to check the box that says not single. Who cares? I'll marry people if they want to get an inheritance. We don't have to love each other. We don't have to pretend.
All right. So you heard it here, folks. If you're listening to this, and if you want to move to Canada, you need a green card and you are a billionaire, maybe a secret billionaire, First Dates and Soulmates pod at gmail.com.
It's so true. You're welcome.
Nikki is not romantic about marriage. It's a contract.
It has a contract.
And she'll take the payout. Okay? She'll get to know you for the green card. Our mutual friend who introduced us, Andrea, actually did get her Canadian citizenship. She had to go through all the things. You had to, like, oh my God. She had to print out their chat conversations to prove that they were in love with each other.
Yeah,
that you do for citizenship is different.
More
than inheritance.
Versus just, I'm going to get some money.
Yeah. Yeah. But we have diatribed. We have gone into fake engagement. We've gone into fake marriage. fake dating is lower stakes. And I think that might
Yes.
actually be one of the reasons I don't like it as much as fake marriage, because even though they're on the same page, there's always an end date with it. Not always, frequently an end date with it, where it's like, I need you through this wedding. I need you through the holidays. I need you to come with me this day. And then it can be dissolved. As they get to know each other better, they keep pushing the deadline back potentially, or they have to have a conversation. I like the ticking clock that goes along with fake dating sometimes. But again, it doesn't work if the premise isn't locked.
Yeah, very, very true. I think the interesting transition point, and I think this is fairly common in this trope, is that they start fake dating. Both sides are in because both sides have said there's something in it for me and we agree on this. And we'll kind of come up with whatever ruse that we want of how we met and what's our story, etc. But what typically happens is they start feeling tingles in the groiny bits first.
Yes.
But then over time, what changes is I've got tingles in my chesty bits. And I'm not talking about your breasts. I'm talking about your heart. And like, that's the thing that they're like, oh my God, I'm so worried if someone finds out about this. Not that we're fake dating. I'm so worried if they find out that I really like them.
That I caught the feelings.
I caught all the feelings and my tingles in my chesty bits.
I thought groiny bits was bad, but I think chesty bits might be worse.
You're welcome. Like, how do you like to see like that evolution? Like, they're in it. They've decided they're in it, and it's before like the emotional like declaration and we're actually going to do this for real. Like for me, it's I like the sex. I guess I like you as and I like you as a person, but now I love you. Like what do you feel about like that emotional sexual transition?
I think this might be one of those moments where as a reader I like something, but if I actually saw someone do this in real life, I'd want to punch him in the face. Because what I love is they complete whatever that agreement is. I will go with you to the courthouse. I will go to the wedding. I will show off in front of your ex. And then we're done. And we break up. I want a third act breakup, Nikki.
Ooh.
I want them to spend some time apart from each other. I want them to go back to their respective best friends and be like, no, but he didn't love me, and have the best friend be like, you idiot. How did you not see this? Well, no, but it was just fake. Well, maybe it started that way. You know, like in the way that Alexa was saying on her episode, it's like the best friend is the reader's voice going, you idiot, stop it. Stop.
Just
stop.
have a conversation.
Put your, like, you already broke up with them, just put your heart on the line, and then they have to go back and do a bit of groveling. Like, I want a good, like, I loved you all along, or I fell in love with you and I was scared, and I want there to be a heartfelt confession.
Oh, I love that. And that's so true. So often, at least in film, they don't have the actual breakup, go their separate ways. It's usually the declaration comes sometimes in public, and that everybody's like, oh my God, they were fake dating the whole time. But you're right. They don't have that moment where they kind of separate and be like, okay, it's done. But I actually really miss them, and I wish we weren't done.
And I think that's, often it's different. It has to be different on film. And we've talked about this. We talked about this a lot with Meet Me Next Christmas, where it's like it sort of has to be the big stage production because the quiet confession is not as exciting as a viewer.
It's not cinematic.
But as a reader, and maybe this is one of the biggest differences between reading and screenplays. In addition to the screenplays, like, you don't get the interiority. You have to do a lot more with facial expressions. You can't write those facial expressions into screenplays. You have to trust the actors and trust the editors to do it versus, and I think this is one of the reasons that you and I love romance, is you get into other people's heads.
True.
Sometimes you disagree with them, but you still have that, you get to take your own brain and put it into someone else's brain. And even if you disagree with their decisions, you know what they're thinking. And so the payoff to the confession is so much greater because we do have their thoughts. And whether, you know, if you have a two-person romance and one of them is giving the confession and you're in the other one's POV, you will also get the reaction in real time. That is, or you get the person groveling and you get their words and their interiority. You get their thoughts. You get to understand the heart feels. I'm not saying chesty bits. I'm not doing
Tickles
it.
in the chesty Well, I love that you brought that up because my favorite aspect of just relationships in general, we see it so much more in fake dating, is how the interior and exterior thoughts and feelings don't match.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it when they have that moment of like realizing that those are not the same and realizing that like on the inside, I have the feels. Like that's my favorite part of it. But what bothers me is when they then don't talk about it. That bothers me. I think people should be open to having conversations with the people that they're with. I think this is a great thing.
You know, and it kills me when you get to that point in the book where they finally talk about it and then they go, we could have done this 10 years ago, and they recognize it and they didn't do it 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And even if you, like, I'm thinking about Love Light Farms where it's like, well, your dad had just died or whatever. Like, you were in mourning. I didn't want to tell you then how I felt. I don't know if it was dad, mom, whatever. But it's like, but then 10 years went by and it never came up. Mm-hmm. You know, like there are moments where you can kick the can down the road, but at some point, have a like get drunk and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. You don't have to get drunk. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that you need to get drunk, to be honest.
I would get drunk. So do you think you not being you, like you're not the Meg who is not married, do you think you would be a good fake girlfriend if your best friend came to you and was like, hey Meg, for a promotion or to get back at my ex, I need you to pretend to be my girlfriend at this wedding or thing?
You know,
like, do you think you did a good job?
I have been the plus one. Not the fake plus one, just the friend plus one. My friend Jeremy and I, when we were like right out of college, we went to all the weddings together because we were both single, and I think people always thought there was something there. And like, actually, it would be a really good childhood friends to lovers with Jeremy because he and I were in kindergarten together, and that would be a nice story. We've been friends for like a million years. But nothing ever happened. Even like we shared hotel rooms when we went to people's weddings out of town. We were just like, okay, we're sleeping with you. But I would be I was a great date. People loved me as the date. We danced all night. You know, they were like, can we be friends later? I'm like, yeah, here's my Facebook. You know, like I've become friends with people whose weddings I went to and I haven't seen since then on the socials. So yeah, I think I would be pretty good at it, but I don't think I'd be good at fake marriage. That's for you. You can be the fake bride. Unless I wake up married. I think I'd be really good at waking up married.
You'd be good at wake up married because you love it. I think honestly, I would make a very good fake girlfriend, fake spouse because I'm excellent at improv. I'd be yes and all over this relationship, and the people's bosses that they're trying to get promotion would be like, your girlfriend, she's so attentive and lovely. I'm like, yeah, I know how you take your coffee. Yeah, I can make jokes. I'm the funniest person in my friend group. Like,
you are. You're delightful. I would fake date you. I would.
Thank you. Everybody, line up. Let's go. No, okay. So I have said this. I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this before, but like the designated extroverted friend. Have I ever told you about this business idea?
No. I love this already. God. I love where we're going with this.
So I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm fairly introverted. Like I don't like going to networking events. I don't like going to events where I don't know people because I need to know who to talk to and where to stand. And just standing by the buffet is insufficient. So I really wish, like back in college, if you were leaving the library really late, the campus would often have like designated walkers to walk people home across campus. And it would be a man and a woman, so a male student and a female student and you just had to like text or call this number and be like, hey, I'm leaving Robarts Library. I'm going back to my dorm at Vic. I need some walkers, please. They'd be like, great, they'll be there in 20 minutes. So there would be these two designated walkers in like high vis vests, and they would walk you back across campus. And they always had one of both genders, one man, one woman. There are more than genders. Genders are a spectrum. But that's how they would do it so that you wouldn't, if you were a woman, you wouldn't feel nervous about only having a man. So like they had like these designated walkers so that you would feel safe and could get home. I want designated extroverted friends who you can hire, or an event would like provide them, that if you're really shy, you would go up to a person in essentially the equivalent of a high vis vest and be like, I'm going to take you around and introduce you to people and like almost be like a wingman for you, but like at a networking event. Like, oh, hey, this is my friend Nikki. She's into this. Who are you? Oh, great. Nikki, what do you think? And like, we just keep like bringing, like, I want there to be designated extroverted friends at events. And I thought about that could be a fun staffing thing that I could do to get, because my friend Jen, who Meg, you've met, she is my extroverted friend to go to events with.
She totally
She will go up to anybody. So I could be that. I'm not extroverted, but I will say I am a fantastic person to like meet your boss with or meet your parents with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm great at it.
You
That's
are.
my little
You give great
side
parent, I
segue.
bet.
Thank you. And it comes from everybody wanting my parents to be their in-laws because my parents are also fabulous. But yeah, I feel like that's what I kind of like in these stories is you have like that one person who's like, you know what? I'm going to go to bat for you. I'm going to make you look so damn good to your boss, to your parents, whatever. Of course you're going to fall in love with me. I am fabulous.
I love that was not part of my framework, but it is really an important part of this is not just the public reputation or, representing you as whatever stable to your boss or the lawyers or whomever you're trying to impress in this case. But like making you more comfortable in the environment that you're trying to achieve.
Ooh.
It's not just the public perception, it's about you feeling safer in that space. Especially if like you're going home to a family that isn't supportive of you and then you have this partner and the partner's asking questions that you wouldn't ask yourself, or you're in a workplace and your partner's like, oh, Steve told me about how you did this work and you were instrumental in this, and sort of like pumping you up to the boss. Like there's something there.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that, but I love that. You're right. That is something of what I love, because sometimes when people, they feel like they have to bring a date home to their parents, it's because maybe their other siblings are super high achievers and they don't feel like they are. Again, I read this like 2 weeks ago. Cannot for the life of me remember the name of the book, but there is a situation where this person brings like I don't remember if it was fake dating or not, but they bring a person home with them, and it's like one of their siblings is a doctor, the other one is a lawyer, and I think they're a scientist, maybe. Yes, something to do with like ecology and like saving endangered species. But because it's not doctor lawyer, his parents have never really talked to him about their job before. So when he takes his friend home with his family, everybody at the dinner table is like, how many lives did you save? And how was that big merger and acquisition? So when they talk to this character, like, how's work? And he goes on this like, oh my God, I'm so excited to talk to you about the birds that I've been saving, and on and on and on. And then he slowly realizes that everybody at the table has started talking to other people. His parents have never asked him what he does. His siblings don't ask him. But the friend he's brought with him is like, hey, can you tell me more about the rainbow tern? And how you're saving that? Like, he starts pumping him up so that eventually this character does go to his parents later in the book and say, I feel like you ignore me and don't care about what I do. And the parents are like, oh my God, we don't feel that way, but we're so sorry that we made you feel that way. Like, that pump up aspect? Fuck yeah. I love that.
The confidence in an environment where you're not feeling safe is like, I love that. I love that example that you just gave. I thought you were going to say...
I'm going to find that book, and I'm going to put it in the show notes, because it was like last week I read it, so I should be able to find it pretty easily.
I'm sure I'll go on a rant in a minute. Tell you what, everyone, if you're listening, while Nikki looks that up, I'm going to remind you here that you should go to our Substack and comment on this episode and tell us what your favorite fake dating books are, because we do have a little bit of time between when this is released and when we're going to be recording. So if you have one where you're like, oh my God, Nikki, Meg, you have to read this book, come tell us. Come to our Instagram. We have a post right there specifically for your fake dating recommendations and your favorites, so that way we can add them into our roundup. If you all love fake dating as much as I do, maybe we do another month of fake dating, which Nikki will hate, and I will tell her we're doing it anyway.
I will always do it. It's
Come talk to us. And if you're feeling particularly spunky, then you can always support us in Substack for $7 a month. If we get enough supporters, we might even do special episodes for y'all. So maybe
want some bonuses.
Oh man, maybe we do something where, like, if you are a long-term subscriber, you get to pick a book that we read, right? So come, if you have $7 a month. There's a lot of ways that you can support us that are free, but I want to remind you that you can do that. You can also come watch our faces on YouTube. You can watch us on the TikTok or the Instagram. We would love to hear from you on all of those platforms. So do the book name.
Yes, I do. Yes. And I found the book name that I was talking about earlier. So the first book I mentioned, these are all going to be in the show notes, about like Felix and the Swords. And is called Heat Transfer by Catherine McIntyre. It's, I believe, the first book in the Bannon Brothers series, or Banana. It's the first book in a series about a bunch of brothers. Great large family. There are swords. There's gay for you / bisexual awakening. But the book I was just talking about is Reckless Hearts by Jax Calder, which actually was a very, very emotional book. But part of it is Seb is kind of the geeky younger sibling who is really, I think it's set in New Zealand or Australia, but wants to save animals. And his love interest is his sister's best friend, who eventually becomes like a major, major movie star. But he's kind of, he goes to dinner and Seb is talking all about these birds he's saving and nobody's paying attention to him. It's a heartbreaking book. It's so emotional, but it's also fantastic. So I've put all of those in the show notes for you. You're welcome.
Nick, you have like 20 ships in today's episode. And this is a trope roundup. So we already have like a million racks. Guys, this is gonna stack your TBR. Okay, so wrapping up, what do you ship the most about the fake dating?
About fake dating, I think it's what we just kind of discovered together. This idea that you have someone in your corner who wants to make you look good. For whatever reason, even if I don't buy into the premise of why this fake dating has to happen, or the fact that these characters just won't have a fucking conversation with each other, there is that, like, having a cheerleader, having a support person to lean on you, to just be like, don't worry. No matter what happens, I got your back. I am going to make you look great. I love that. And I feel like we should all aspire to be that for our friends, just in general. Like, fucking pump up your friends, pump up your loved ones. Like, when someone is confident, they can do really cool shit. So I think that is what I ship the most about this trope in general. Meg, what about you? Being the fake dating queen.
Oh, no, not the queen. No, just somebody who has read way more than I even realized until we started pulling together this episode. Mm-hmm. No, I think my favorite thing about fake dating is the moment where you see the ex. It's not in every fake dating book, but we've talked about this before. I think we talked about this with Shanae Howard's Christmas Beard. What was the N.R. Walker book? Weight of It All?
Weight of It All.
We talked about it there at the grocery store twice. Where they weren't even dating. That was just, we are friends to lovers. But that moment of bumping into somebody from the past and going, oh, I'm with him now. Mm-hmm. That's the moment that I love fake dating the most.
Ooh, you know what is a really good one for that? Just as like a quick side rec.
Oh my God.
It's going to be in the major list of recs that we'll put in the show notes for this one. But it's Best Man, also by Lily Morton.
I read that one.
It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's all part of her Connected Universe series, honestly. But that has like that perfect ex moment, because he has to go to his ex's wedding where he's the best man. It's great. Definitely has that moment. Okay, I love this so much. So we have shipped a lot of things today related to this trope. But Meg, what else are you shipping this week that we want to leave the good folks with?
All right, so we already gave y'all like 1 million recommendations. Here's one that isn't a fake dating. It is a forced proximity. It is a novella. It is sweet and charming and fast. It is Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez. It is, I think it might be Amazon exclusive, or it might have just been an Amazon first read that my friend Megan recommended to me. But it is 110 pages, so it's quick. The premise is that these two people live on the second floor of their apartment building. They share like a walkway, and they walk out of their apartment one Friday night, and the stairs are missing.
I have read this.
The company that was doing construction was supposed to rebuild another building, and they got the number wrong, and so they just took out the stairs. And so these two people are stuck across the hall from each other. They share a balcony for a full weekend, and they bring their furniture out on the balcony to hang out, and they make each other coffee, and they're like sort of forced proximity, but they still have their own apartments. She has a stalker, and that's why she moved, and she wanted to be on the second floor. So she's very hesitant to get in a relationship. He just got out of a relationship. And so he's hesitant to get back into one. So they both have reasons why they're not going to leap into this. But then they just get to know each other on the balcony, and they have like a bucket where when he doesn't show up to teach a topiary class, the old women from the the nursing home get on the bus. They come and they bring him cookies that say like whore about his ex-fiance, and then they have like a circle and a line through it. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's
so ridiculous.
The premise is ridiculous, but the book itself is so tight.
It is.
And when you were talking a minute ago, the reason I wanted to show this one here is because you were talking about saving the birds. There's this runner in it of like, he's an arborist. And so he's talking, and his friend's like, there's a cute girl across the hall from you. Don't talk about trees. You're going to bore her to death when you talk about trees. Don't talk about trees. And then he gets out there and he's like, so that tree over there, and she's like, yeah, tell me more about trees, and just that, like, that instant connection that they have, and they, the epilogue, they've moved in together, but by the end of a weekend, we see how deep their relationship can get, and I love a really tight turnaround timeline. So, Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez. Nikki, what are you shipping this week?
So, Amy Padilla is an author that I used to read a lot of and just hadn't read anything recently. And she has a new series called the Charmed Away Temp Agency series. So there is a novella on BookFunnel, and then 2 books have been released so far. The 3rd one is coming out, I think, next month. And then I think there's 2 more after that to be released. So it's about a temp agency, but it's set in a world where there are like supernatural creatures like incubus, dragon, vampire, but humans are not the dominant species in this world. So in the first book, which is called The Incubus's Assistant, the incubus is like CEO of this company that does product development for supernatural creatures. It's a huge multinational conglomerate. It's like one of the biggest companies in the world. And he needs a temp. So he gets, because his secretary has to go home for a while, whatever. So the temp goes, obviously love story ensues. The incubus is kind of funny in terms of how feeding works in this world. It has a very specific bureaucratic system, which I love. Because there are contracts for feeders, and like the contract he signs with this feeder like is an asshole, and he like stays away from the incubus. So this human assistant is like, I can feed you because you're about to die. And then of course they fall in love, and it's great. The second book is about he's a dragon. The second book is called The Dragon's Aid, and he's, I think, the head lawyer for the company. But dragons in this world are like very irritable. He will literally blow smoke out of his nose when he's angry. And his temp is a mage who's studying to be a lawyer. So they're like, great, can you go help him? Because his assistant is out for whatever reason. So much drama ensues. The next one coming up is the shapeshifter's secretary. So it's just this is a workplace romance, which is shocking that I liked this, because I do not love workplace romances, because these are the CEO, a co-founder, the head lawyer, involved with their temps.
But you do like workplace romances sometimes, because like Louisa Masters, Hidden Species.
Yes, this is very Hidden Species-esque. I will say the vibe is very similar. The dynamics are never like an issue for me in terms of like power dynamics, like the CEO and CEO secretary, which normally I don't like, but it works so well in this series. But the series is extremely funny. It's very well written. The world building is phenomenal. And honestly, one of the reasons I avoided reading it was because the book covers are made to look like employee handbooks.
So yeah, that would be a turnoff for you.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like I skimmed over it so quickly, and because as it showed up in like my recommended, it actually looked like nonfiction, that I was surprised it was getting recommended to me. And then I kind of read the description. I was like, no, this is an romance. Not really my vibe. And then finally I was like, fuck it. I just want to read something new this weekend. So then I just read all the books, and then I got the prequel off of BookFunnel, and I was like, this is great. When's the next one coming out? It's very funny. The world building is phenomenal. So Amy Padilla, Charmed Away Temp Agency series. It's on Kindle Unlimited.
I love that. All right. So if you want to read ahead, this is Fake Dating Month. So next week, we're going to watch the Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston movie from 2011, Just Go With It. We are going to read 5 fake dating books this month. So I want to give you all the heads up about that. We're going to talk about the Eden Finley series, Fake Boyfriend. So we're going to talk about the first 3. If you are reading along, read Fake Out, Trick Play, and Deke. Or just come listen, because we'll give you all the spoilers and the fun parts. We're also going to read Ellie Hazelwood's Love Hypothesis, and we're going to read Stella Reese's Hothead. So we've got a lot of book read-alongs this month. I read all of them. Nikki has not, so I'm looking forward to getting her hot takes. Some of them I loved. Some of them I did not love as much as the world seems to love them, so we will definitely have some strong, controversial opinions on popular books. And we'll see you next week for Just Go With It.
Okay, bye.
Bye.